you can get it from there. Okay, sweet, man. So Jeevan's going to hop on, I think.
Yeah.
So let me just, are you able to take some notes? Kind of where. Okay, sweet. Okay, so first thing is WP. Am I sharing my screen? No, I'm not yet. Am I?
You're not. Yep.
No, let me share screen. Thought I was. No, I guess I wasn't. Okay. So all our development for the 3 plugins happens by one guy. His name is Mohammed. He's based in Pakistan. We don't do a lot of development on the plugin.
Mm-hmm.
So the Trello board, we have a Trello board for it. I want to share first. Actually, we have 3 Trello boards. We have Simple Podcast Press, Simple Social Press, and Simple Video Press.
Mm-hmm.
You can see my screen here. I don't think you guys have access. I'm going to add you right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I have that.
Team visible.
Might have one of them.
How do I freaking do this again, man? Team visible. All right. Invite with a link. I should be able to just do this, right? Yeah. That's you, right? I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Came up first. And Jeevan as well. Yeah. Okay, and then I'll invite. That's a Simple Podcast Press board. Simple Social Press. So just as I'm talking here, Simple Podcast Press is the podcast to WordPress. Simple Social Press is Facebook lives or Facebook videos to WordPress. And Simple Video Press is YouTube to WordPress. So I think we covered this briefly before, but I'll just, in summary, it takes the video. Every time you put a video on YouTube, it makes a blog post.
Jeevan said he's on, by the way. So maybe you have to let him in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Where do I see the invite? I don't see him on here.
He said he's going to log off and get back on.
Oh, sorry. My fault. Man, that was a good training. Never had so many people ask questions before.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So I give a heads up to the support guys. If you can do that little macro for that, I don't know if you saw my tag.
Yep.
That's really helpful because people ask the questions. I'm just, hey, go to the course. It's all there. I mean, you can't do it for every question if they ask a specific question.
Right.
How do I get started, or what's some strategies or best practices you recommend? Something high level, you can't. I'm starting to send them here to the course, and it's, if you haven't had a chance, sign up for the course because you'll at least go through the outline so you can get a better feel for what it does.
Sure.
Because it's
it's all posted on the Facebook channel, right?
Yeah, it's at repurpose.io/blueprint.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's a link in the Facebook group, but yeah, that's a direct link. Yeah, I don't see Jeevan yet. Not sure what's going on here.
Well, you can just
okay. Yeah, I'm sure he'll pop in. Okay. All right. So back to this. Oh, there he is. Yeah, there he is. Okay. Hey, Jeevan. Sorry, man. I didn't see you earlier. So I'm recording this, by the way, so you guys can get it out later. But I don't think we're going to finish. Well, we won't finish, but we'll start and we'll do our best and we'll continue on Monday. So there's 3 plugins. There's 3 separate boards in Trello. I just invited you guys both to each of the boards. So there's 3 WordPress plugins: Simple Social Press, Simple Podcast Press, Social Press, Video Press. Podcast Press takes your podcast from your podcast feed, makes a new blog post, essentially, embeds our audio player and the title and the description for every episode. So it's a unique page on your blog, a new post on your blog with the audio player and the title description from your podcast feed. So you hook up a feed, like Repurpose, hook up a feed to it. It makes blog posts. It's a pull type thing. Like Repurpose pushes to different platforms. The plugins, they get installed on the user's site and they pull data. So every hour it checks for a new episode, new podcast, and it downloads. It makes a blog post if it's not already there. Social Press, same idea, but it's for Facebook, whether it's Facebook Live, whether it's a Facebook video. You can choose, or both. basically have it do videos or lives, and makes a blog post, embeds the Facebook video, and then also all the comments as well. So we pull in comments from Facebook. We make them as native WordPress comments on your blog. There's also an extra feature which we don't advertise as much as we should be. You can put a certain short code on your site and you can go live. And that page, let's say it's repurpose.io/live, it's always going to show my latest live. So if I'm streaming live, someone can watch it on my website live.
That's cool.
And if you're not streaming, it says, hey, we're not streaming now, come back later. So it always updates itself to the latest live as you're going live. So you don't have to keep editing that page. So that's the second feature. And then the video press is very similar. It takes a YouTube video, makes a blog post, embeds the YouTube video, title, description, thumbnail, and I think the comments as well. Yeah, the comments as well. So video press is the oldest one. It's been around, it was the first one. It's the clunkiest one, I want to call it. It was our first plugin. So it's but it works. It's there. It's less popular. The podcast one is the most popular, and the video social press is the second most popular. So I have 3 Trello boards. It's not as nicely organized as the other boards are, but I don't want to change that because we only have one developer, and he's works on it maybe like a few hours, 10 hours a week kind of thing. Like not a lot of time. Sorry, 10 hours a month or 20 hours a month or something. So it's not like constantly adding stuff. So,
yeah, I was going to say, is that typically fixing things or adding things at this point?
It's fixing some things that come in, and then some adding as well. But I think depending on the plugin, the podcasting one is usually fixing, but the other ones, like we're adding clickable timestamps so they can click through the videos on Facebook and YouTube. So, yeah, it's a bit of both. So it's not neatly organized, and I don't know if I'm even very consistent between them, but there are kind of 2 columns that need to be concerned with for every release. There's a current sprint to do and a current sprint done. So I drop everything in here, and then some things are assigned to me that I need to look at and test. But
so just to clarify, it's in these boards, it's kind of like you have the archive and the current all in one place.
Yeah. So what happens is these are all the history. Again, I haven't been here. Starting from here, it's a little more organized. This is the official version. So new bugs that I want fixed right away for the next sprint. We don't do sprints regularly. Like I'm imagining once a month we'll update this. Sorry, we'll push updates once a month, maybe, or 2 months. So it's not very frequent. Maybe we'll do more because you guys will be helping in like setting up more structured testing. Then I'll feel better about it. But we're doing it about every month or 2, sometimes even longer. So I drop in. If I feel I want it in next sprint, it's critical. I put it into to do current sprint. If it's something that's like, oh, nice to have later, I'll drop it into the future column here. And then I tag him, is Mohammed. And then we use labels, which, I guess we switched from there. I mean, there's labels, but I guess once we added a second column recently. So now he fixes it and then he moves it to here. It's current sprint done and ready. So once it's here, it's ready for me to test. And now hopefully, we'll get Joaquin or John trained at some point to be doing all this testing. But yeah, that's kind of a simple process. And then once it's done, this column will become verified. It'll be version, whatever the version is, whatever the version is in there. We'll just change the label to this, we'll make a new column and we'll move everything over to that column. It's very ad hoc, but we have a column for everything that's been released. But let's not worry about the release too much. Let's focus initially on the testing. So these are the new cards that need testing.
One quick question. I just assume that the app, like repurpose.io, is the priority. So we would never prioritize pushing out some new feature for the plugins over the app.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Always repurpose. Definitely. This is we still have a lot of users, but
Right.
we don't push updates very often, and I do it on purpose. Like usually when you push something, something else breaks. So
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to minimize the number of pushes. But maybe let's plan it once a month, maybe once every 2 months, depending. But let's say once a month for now, like the rough schedule. And I'd like to release them all. I mean, they don't all have to be at the same time. But anyway, we'll sort that out. I think at a different call. But basically, what I want is to systemize the testing process. So similar to, I'm not going to go into simple. The other boards are the same. Video press. I think they're organized in a similar way. Current sprint, and current sprint to do, and current sprint done. So testing would come in, like you would document this for the team. They would come in whenever we say its code is frozen. They need to come in and test each of these bugs to the best of their ability. They're not nearly as detailed as, in some cases, not nearly as detailed as the repurposed ones. Sometimes they're like engineering talk, dev talk, but they just try their best to fix it. If they're not sure, then they can maybe tag me and I can run some tests. Ultimately, probably Jeevan will, I'd like Jeevan or you to be the second tier of testing. But maybe initially we'll tag both of us. So let's just tag Jeevan for now, I guess.
Cool.
If you're comfortable. I don't know if that's
totally.
if it's going to be too much to do the WordPress stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't want you to get bogged down with this because it's not a big part of our business. So I don't know. Let's just tag both of us for now and we can decide. If it becomes a problem, like a time suck, then we'll just keep Jeevan more focused on the stuff and I'll deal with the plugins on a case-by-case basis. Because it's not a lot of new features. The testing is very short. In a few hours, you can test it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, I know you're going to go ahead and move on to testing, but I was just curious at some point just to know kind of how has that currently been happening? Has it just been you testing it by yourself?
Yeah, it's just me. I delay. I never have a little pocket of window. Sorry, I'm just going to open the window. It's hot in here.
Sure.
Then I go ahead and then just hammer through it. And I'll tell you what I do now. So I verify each bug to the best of my ability. Like usually I'm the one raising the bug, so I know what the problem is. I test it, card by card. When it's done, I can just label it done or verify. We can use labels instead of keep moving things around, or we can make new columns. I don't really care at this point. But yeah, I test each card, and then I have a regression style testing for. I have one kind of defined for Simple Podcast Press. The other one's not so much, but maybe we can define one as well. But let's just do the podcasting one first. So everything happens on wp.simplepressplugins.com. So if you want to just make a note of that, that's our development site for the plugins. The latest version is there. I'm going to make another account for testing right now. So I'm just making a new user. Add users. So who?
You just want to call it testing?
Yeah. Testing. What email should I just use my email, I guess. Testing. Just use my personal email. It's all good. Testing team. What password is this? What's a good password to use here that we use everywhere else?
12345, which is about the most secure password there is.
Secure. Well, let's just do repurpose. No, what would we do? SMP at 123. Let's do that. Yes, confirm weak password. I know. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried, but that's fine. It's
maybe a couple exclamations or a pound sign.
Okay. Let's just do that. I don't want it too long because, well, testing. No. Damn it. My brain's not working anymore. Whatever. I'll just leave it. We can always change it later. Say hashtag $. Okay. Let's do that. Can you just make a note in the Google Drive? I'll just paste this in here.
Okay.
Okay, create new user. Should I save a password? So I go in, I test individual ones. So all the settings are here under Simple Podcast, press settings. So I would test all the different individual features, and then once I'm done all this, the regression testing, I usually have my feed connected, so it should be fine. What I do usually is not a lot, but let me just change that. It looked better in a different theme. Not because it looks better, but it makes the testing easier when it was under a different theme. So let me just switch this back to this one for now.
Like, are you publishing with that to like a fake site?
No, this is our fake site. This is our test site. So the plugins, they get installed on the user site, and then they pull content in. So whatever we do here. So I guess the first test would be go in, disconnect, or say reconnect my feed, and then just test the process of just importing a feed. So the default one is just my Libsyn feed. We could just use that one. So it's H Mourras. I'll just put that in here as well. So that's one we always using for testing repurpose as well. You can use it for testing here. Okay, then hit continue. And then we're just going to make sure that it finds X number of episodes. Make sure it continues to the next page, really. That's the first test. I mean, no stuff never fails, so it's been working for a long time. But before I start testing any settings, the buttons and stuff like that, I have a page. Oh, crap. Why is it doing that? Something's wrong with the theme here.
Yeah, in my case, WordPress and cache problems always go hand in hand.
Oh God, yeah, it's a nightmare to support sometimes. But okay, so I put the right theme that I used to have before. Okay, so if you go under a category called For Demo, if you click on that, what I created here are 20 different pages or posts, I guess, that test different features of the plugin. So first, and I tried to call it the title of the post, this is the Pro Player playlist. Okay, all we're checking here on this page, I should see a playlist. And there's no duplicate entries. Okay, looks good. I can click play, I can listen. Well, yeah, why is it? Oh, I guess I don't know why that didn't work, but that could be a problem with my feed. Let's see why that didn't work. Actually, that's a good point. No, there's something wrong with the audio on my podcast. I'll remove that episode. But yeah, you just check that you click play and it works. Then that's the test for that page. I try to describe it in here. This one it's called Smart Multiple Episodes. Smart is another podcast player, one of our competitors, Smart Podcast Player from Pat Flynn. We added an integration with their plugins. We can add automation to their plugin. So it says test number 1 with SPP. You want to automatically replace this. If you turn it off, you should see the Smart Podcast Player. If you turn on that option in the settings, you should see our player instead. So I described the test in here in the post, and then you can execute the test. So I was trying to use the post as a way to test it, as a way to describe the test so I know the expected behavior. So the option here, it doesn't look like it's working because this one says automatically replace all your players with SPP. That's on, and it's not. When that option is on, it's supposed to replace it with this. This is their player. It's not replacing it. So there's something wrong here already. So when something's wrong, you just have to report it. Just raise a story, a Trello card, and we can go from there. So, and then this one is about clickable timestamps. It's a lot of little quirks. I think I may need to really spend some time and just describe the test in here a little bit better. Like this one, for example, you can't test it. Yeah, you have to go into, you must first open the post. The clickable timestamp feature, for example, doesn't work when you're on the home page. You have to click to the post. Okay, so here, when you come to this test, I put a note here. You got to click and open the post first. You got to go into here, and what you're testing is that these clickable timestamps work. But I already see a weird, funny thing here. That this word "this" is clickable for some reason. That's a bug there. That shouldn't happen. But you want to click here. Make sure that the player jumps. So that's the test. So I clicked and it jumped the audio. Can you guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So that would be the test for that. So basically this is like the regression testing, or most of it. It's just going through. These are where most of the bugs were found before. It was when something to do with timestamp. We have something called auto manual timestamps. Yeah, I don't know what's the best way to do this. Like, there's a lot of detailed things that are, I know what they are because I wrote these little tests and I know the expected behavior, but I think I need to add more, edit each of these and describe the test in more detail, a little bit more detail, so that you can come in here and say, okay, we have for example, we have two types of snippets. We have an auto snippet and then a snippet where you add it via short code. And this is just testing that both are working. These are auto. Like if you click on edit post, and these are auto, but it just detects the timestamp and it just makes it clickable on its own. And then these ones are via short code when the user wants to add a short code to specify the time. Because some things were not working with the auto timestamps. So this test will test both as an example. So you would click here, make sure the time jumps. Oh, that didn't work. That's weird. Oh, there it is. Oh no, because this episode is only 44 minutes long. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of the gist of it. I know it's not helping. I know we're running out of time. So I think I need to go through each of these. That's about the action item for me to go through these and write like kind of what I did here. Write the test plan, the test, like what's supposed to happen on this page, so that you or whoever's testing this will know what the expected result is, how to run the test, basically.
Yeah.
So this is almost like the document, like the test document will be the blog post.
Sure.
So let's call this the regression test. Let's call this the demo, or I don't know, regression testing just call it regression testing. And then the last thing is also part of the regression testing, which is just to run the process from scratch. Basically reconnect the feed, add a feed, and then import the episodes. So you'd have to go in and delete all the episodes, empty the trash, and then import new episodes. And make sure that they all show up, and make sure that like all 25 or whatever import properly.
But that won't mess with the post that you have that is acting as a test doc, right?
Yeah, exactly. Test docs are separate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point, actually. In the post, they're categorized. So I have a category called test category. That's the for demo. Oh, no, that's not it. And where is it? Sorry, it's called for demo. Sorry. The category is for demo. And these are all the ones that we use to do the regression testing. So nobody should touch these ever.
Yeah.
And then the plugin itself, it's set to, you can import it to a specific WordPress category. So this one's imported to men. I don't know why I was testing something here. So then they would go in, change the category to men. Where'd it go? Oh, there. And then delete them all.
And
Move to
then
trash.
import to men.
Yeah, you got to move to trash and then empty the trash. That's key. It won't import again if it's in the trash. You have to empty the trash and then go in and import. I would say just import it to. We have one called podcast. Just import the podcast. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I think I was just testing something. That's why I would set that. So you go and import the podcast, and then the test would be import, and it should. Oh, 2 episodes imported. I think because I have the date. Yeah, I only have it. This is actually a bug. The date's not showing up here. This should be. That window should show up. So I told only to import after a certain date. So I think just change it to import all and make sure that all the episodes import. Import new episode. They should now import the rest.
So this is really just kind of like a specific test for ensuring that none of the changes have caused an issue with importing.
Exactly. Yeah, these are like the tests we run for every release to make sure that the 4 demo categories all behave the same. Like, I'll describe what the behavior should be. When you do this, it should show this, it should hide this. And then B, what the importing is not broken, really. Make sure the import's not broken. So those are, and then I guess C would be messing around with the buttons. I would say maybe quick test, turn all on, and then turn all off. Just in case we mucked up something with the buttons.
So when you turn them all on, how do you test them?
Yeah, so you turn them all on, you click save.
Yeah.
Then you go into any episode. Doesn't matter if it's the ones that we imported under podcast. Oh, the one we imported by default, it was set to draft. So you should probably set them to auto publish. Otherwise, you won't see it. That's why they're not appearing here under podcast because they're not published. So I have to go in and let's click that one first. Oh, that's not the one. Category podcasts. These are all draft. Check. Preview. Yeah, so you should turn them on. You should see this.
Yeah.
These are ugly because, well, I don't know. It's a good question. Why are they ugly? I think because there's no names.
Things you don't want to ask about your children. Why are they
ugly? Names? Or why are they ugly? Why don't they have any names? Or are they ugly? Either one is no good. I think because these are left blank. So I don't know. That's probably a bug. So I'll probably just put something in here. Actually, not even this. I mean, these are sometimes, once we set this up, then you don't even need to change these. This could be the default settings. So something like that. And then when we save it, it should update the plugin. Okay. Yeah, so you're just checking all the buttons came on and all the buttons come off. I mean, there's so much levels of testing we can do, but we don't really change too much in the UI stuff. So let's keep it simple for now. Just make sure you can import, make sure all the buttons come on and off. And we should do a test with an email opt-in. Just make a note. I'll describe that later. I know you guys got to go. It's already 5 minutes after. Just make a note to do a test with the email opt-in. And then I'll describe that for Monday. For Monday, I'll do a little more prep and cleanup, and so we can get Simple Podcast Press testable for you guys, okay. So you can document it, procedure. There's a lot of features, yeah. But I don't want to test. I don't need to test every single one. But
yeah, I was going to say, really, the testing I think for the plugins especially should just test on things that were touched.
I think they were touched, and then just this generic regression testing where make sure it imports everything properly, still imports everything, and then the 4 category. There's a lot of quirks in here, like you can automatically replace the player with SPP that changes the behavior. So that's what the four demo category is. That's what it's for. It's meant to kind of test a bunch of things and just visually glance over and say, oh yeah, that looks good. Oh, something's wrong here. I'm expecting this to happen, and it's not doing that. So I'll define that better. Okay. So the goal, let's say, for us tomorrow, for Monday's call, I'll have this better defined and in the posts itself, and then we'll focus on just kind of going reviewing the SPP first. And then the other plugins are much easier. They're a little bit less settings, less things to mess around with. So, okay. I know you guys got to go. It's way over your time.
I do have to jump. Quick 15 seconds. I didn't hear from, because yesterday when I checked in, he responded about an hour ago, and he said that he's planning to be done with 100% of all the changes by tomorrow morning, our time tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah.
Code freeze is supposed to be Monday technically, so I think we should be good. So as soon as I told him to let me know tomorrow when he's ready for me to test it, so I'll test it tomorrow.
Okay, so you think we're in good shape? Let me just stop the recording here. How do I stop recording? You think we're in good shape?
Yeah.
From what you saw so far?
Yeah, it seems like it. And